airline is that the state can look beyond just the core bottom line. It can look at how this helps unlock hospitality. So with that case, Enugu will probably most times be priced lower.
All right. So we take it that the slogan of Enugu Air is fly differently. Yeah. That is the slogan, okay? Fly differently, simply put. Now, some people are concerned about the newness of the airline. Some are saying, I understand that the airline being packed there at the tarmac for so long, of course, has gathered some dust, rain has fallen on it. They're seeing, there have been better pictures of the airline, and we took those better pictures earlier in March. But over time, we're seeing the build-up from the, packed airline, and those are the pictures that have been circulating. So what do you have to say to those people that are concerned that Enugu Air is, or maybe you can clarify us on how old it is yet again, and what you have to say to those that believe that the airline should be brand new?
I don't really understand what those people are implying. Remember, aircrafts are not vehicles. Even for certain airlines that have even placed order for some machines, those things can take 6 years before you actually get all of them. I know of an airline that ordered for 10 machines from Airbus. I think it's only 2 that have arrived in 2 years, right? So it takes time. So the aircrafts are all fine. Just like you bought a brand new vehicle, you're not yet ready to surprise somebody with it, and then you pack it. Of course, when you're about to start to gift it, you wash it and you take off. Yeah, so there's no issue.
All right, so what's the exact age of the airline, of the aircraft?
The aircraft are very sound. Aircraft generally are 35 years.
All right.
That's their first useful life, and then you can overhaul it.
All right.
So those aircraft are less than 10 years old.
All right.
So can you share details of the maintenance contracts too? So because apparently these are things to instill confidence in the populace.
Yes, the state and the operator is partnering directly with the aircraft manufacturer, Embraers. And Embraers are the best machines for these hot and dusty climates. Yes. So, and of course that partnership is way much reliable. Though it can be a little bit expensive, but that guarantees that you always have the spares, you follow their maintenance timelines. Yes.
All right, we're going to quick breather now. When we return, we're talking about the modalities of launch day. People are still asking questions as to what they should expect when they all trickle down to Akanu Ibiam Airport to watch the inaugural flight of Enugu Air. But we're joined by Afia TV political and economic correspondent in just moments as he brings in a business perspective to this conversation. The Morning Show returns in seconds. Stay tuned. The Afia Morning Show, and we're still joined by the Honorable Commissioner for Transportation in Enugu State, Dr. Obiozo, and now Afia TV political and economic correspondent, Nnamdi Obaya, is here seated next to him. Well, good morning, first,
Good morning.
Nnamdi. Now, before we get into the business side of it, Dr. Obiozo, could you please walk us through the exact modalities, the program of events for Monday?
Yeah, the program starts by noon. The venue is the International Apron, of the Akanu Ibiam International Airport. There will be canopies and cultural displays and different dignitaries. Then we are hoping there will be an inaugural flight coming from Lagos. The last of the 3 aircrafts will take off from Lagos around 11 to land exactly around noon. And we hope there will be some interesting stuff. And then the event kicks off. The Honorable Minister of Aviation is a special guest of honor. And it should last for an hour and a half. And then we are hoping that there will also be an inaugural flight from Enugu, taking off from Enugu back to Lagos, and also hopefully take the Abuja people back to Abuja. And then, of course, that officially marks the commercial launch of the airline.
Fantastic. Nnamdi, go ahead.
I mean, I noticed that in the apron of the international wing, are there, I mean, Festus Keyamo will be in town. Are there any plans to maybe strong-arm him to open the international wing of the airport fully? Because with Enugu Air now being, well, I say, the home airline of this airport, there has to be, FAN and the ministry have to make some concessions to house the airline. Are there any plans to, you know, get the minister to commit to doing something?
Yes, I think he will be helping us to strong-arm him. But yes, they're already in support, because Akanu Ibiam is the only international airport for this region that is actually heavily populated by entrepreneurs. So yes, and you know that there has been support from the federal government to actually operationalize that international airport through the concession process. And all we need from them is to see that concession through, because the federal government has moved that airport to the concurrent list across the nation. So that means that they are signaling that they generally don't want to be injecting the people's money into some of this infrastructure that are commercially viable, which private sector can get involved. So that is what we are hoping that they can do for us. If they can finish that concession this month or next month, that allows the private sector to potentially try to operationalize that airport before Christmas.
Before Christmas. That will be actually interesting, because there will be a lot of heavy traffic. I think the next thing I want to ask is, Enugu is, what, 2 to 3 hours from every major city in the southeast. Are there any plans, you know, to start thinking of international flights, particularly with respect to cargo, because it's very strategic. The airport is strategically placed, not just because of, I mean, it's literally looking down Port Harcourt Road, down Abakaliki, Ogoja Road, straight. It's literally looking down the whole region.
West, south, yeah.
You know, and around the airport is MNA, which is a whole lot of warehouses. So, is there any plan, you know, to maybe start thinking of maybe get one 777 cargo and start doing cargo at the airport?
Exactly, and that's what that hub strategy is all about, right? That's why it's going hand in hand with the concession and completion of the international airport and an airline, right? Because you can't even have those massive jumbo jets easily on the domestic wing, right? And if he's going to be going outside the country to pick up cargo or even mop up from other places, you kind of need that international wing to be fully operational. Yes, adding additional machines to the fleet will not be a challenge. And then thanks to the governor's effort and pushing the presidency, they should be able to concession and complete that international wing. And recall that Akanu Ibiam is actually has a free trade zone in our airport. It's actually the only airport in Nigeria, I believe, that have a free trade zone attached to it. So, and that's where the cargo terminal of the airport will be built once the concession is completed. So that allows merchants trading all over the world to be able to send their stuff directly to that place duty-free. And then also allows our people to be able to export different types of things
That's right.
to the rest of the world.
So what timeline are we looking at? Because apparently the leadership of Governor Peter Mbah always moves with timelines. I give you this to make sure that this is being achieved now. So what kind of timeline are we looking at?
So we're expecting the same type of speedy execution as we've seen in the launch of the airline, just within 6 months, getting the airline off the ground. We are hoping that the federal government supports this region by completing that concession in the next 2 months. Then that allows the concessionaires to at least do a 6 months to 1 year worth of completion of that international wings, because there is still some significant amount of work. That international wing is about 71% completed,
Right.
so there's still some work. So what you see there is the exteriors is completed, but a lot of the interior stuff and even the cargo side, the extension of the airport, there's a lot of work still left, yes, and we believe that thanks to the capacity there, ACC built it and they're still there. So once the private sector comes in, they might consider just working with them, so it makes it easier and faster. But of course, there is a lot of companies that have capacity who want to jump in and support the project.
That's right.
Okay, very short question. Do we have our tickets for the inaugural flight? That's, 3 of us here now.
Yes, I'm sure, because Afia TV is part of the media and communication partner to Enugu Air, so I'm sure that you will have your ticket and you can pay us so that we can have more money.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for that official announcement.
Yeah.
I mean, we all heard it loud and clear. Afia TV is the official media partner of Enugu Air. Wow, I mean, can I say that again?
That's a big one.
Yes.
Afia TV is the official media partner of Enugu Air.
Very
So
apt.
all the editors out there should
Yes,
write it down. So I have 2 questions for you. Some people are feeling inspired by this significant step Enugu State has taken. What were the major challenges along the way? Secondly, the crew. Because beyond the exterior of the aircraft, like you talked about the international wing just being complete outside, but lots of work still needs to be done inside. How was the ground crew selected, shall we say that, or the flight crew selected? Who would the pilots be? Who would the hosts and hostesses be? Tell us about the actual persons within the aircraft.
Yes, so as part of regulation, there is steps in assessing all your licenses. So it's almost like 5 steps. So we did recruitment. All the pilots started work in first week of May. So anywhere has actually have pilots working. They have earned their 2nd month salaries, right? Immediately they were hired, but we ran a process for over 6 weeks to recruit the pilots. Then they went for training, both type rating and refresher, different things, in Amsterdam and other countries. They came back, then they started doing other local works. The crew, the flight attendants were interviewed. I think you saw some of the interview process went around in Enugu, Abuja, Lagos. Then we recruited, they went for their training. They finished. They were all part of the people doing the demo flight, because you have to even have this entire crew before NCA allows you to start your demo flights. So they've all been working behind the scene. So we also now have the ground crew who will be doing the ticketing, customer support, accounts, sales, marketing. So they've been interviewed, offer letters sent out, and they will now, of course, commence their operations on Monday. So that's how it was done. Then, of course, a lot of attention was paid to finding the right qualified people, but of course, making sure that we are also developing our people and giving them the opportunity to build that capacity to serve in aviation. Just like Ibom Air, when they started, most of the people there were not from Akwa Ibom, right? But within 5 years, they built that capacity. So in the beginning, you're going to see some of our indigenes, but you're not going to see a lot, because what matters is safety, reliability, and comfort of the passengers. It's not really about just having your people. But gradually, we keep building our capacity. And then the airline will also be growing and adding additional fleet. So as we build capacity, you're going to be seeing in subsequent recruitments that our people will be there.
All right.
I was going to ask that question. I think you just took the question from about because recently, maybe last month, there was a report from the National Aviation College complaining that Southeasterners don't come, that Southeasterners have by far the lowest attendance, whether it's cabin crew, ground operations, pilots, that the Southeast is far behind every other region in the country. And also, would there be any, I mean, if you're getting people from everywhere, so would Enugu Air be doing anything cultural? Like, would there be, like, I mean, you enter Aeroflot, they speak English and Russian. Would Enugu Air be doing that? Like, would we be having maybe like bilingual announcements? Would there be any touch of Enugu? Will they be serving abacha? Hopefully not Opa.
Why run New York about bad?
It's a morning flight.
You want to put your best foot forward. You can't
separate.
You're stepping on toes.
Oba from Enugu State. It's not possible. See, once it's morning, that's the breakfast. Oba
abacha.
It's amazing how the conversation is circling. But go ahead.
So that's what I was at. What now is the deliberate plan? Are we? Is there does the airline plan to have maybe its own training facility, or is there going to be an agreement with NCAA or FAN to domicile maybe a more comprehensive training institute here in the region? What is the plan for capacity building? Is anyone going to be involved?
Yeah.
Or are we just hoping that the federal government sees things are happening and pushes more resources this way?
As you can see, the governor's approach is generally very aggressive and very business-minded. He doesn't leave things to chance, right? As he always say, nothing happens by accident. You have to create markets. So whether you see us launching an airline and forcing this place to become an aviation hub, that's also what you're going to see in terms of critical infrastructure like proper maintenance, repair, and overhaul. That's even what, for me, I'm very excited about because we have a lot of universities. So that's a highly high-paying job, right, having an MRO. Instead of aircraft going to South Africa and Morocco, when you come to Africa or even Ethiopia for maintenance, if you can even take the West African market, West and Central Africa, to be maintaining in Enugu, that is a very high-paying job. Yes, the South is generally, whether it's even in military, we are always lagging behind. Part of it is because we wait for federal government and we are not proactive in making sure we take our destinies in our own hands. That's what you're seeing from this government, right? We are not waiting around. So now that we have an airline, you're going to see people, graduates, going to do training, right? Because they have a place to be employed, right? So that is what you're going to start seeing. And then those things are very, very world-class jobs that pay very well. In fact, I considered becoming a pilot after I saw what they earn. So, in fact, maybe the next time you might see me, you might now be hearing Captain Obi.
Exactly. So we have one final question before we let you go, because I'm sure you have a lot more to do. First of all, we're saying that we're going to see the website going live today. The Enugu Air website today. Is it today or Saturday today?
I think I mentioned Saturday.
Saturday.
What is the website?
Huh?
What's the website?
We'll send it to you.
So we can publish that. Okay, it wouldn't be something like www.enuguair.net.com. Okay, let me not preempt it. So wait for it, okay? Sustainability. Beyond this administration, in the next 2 to 6 years, how would Enugu Air be sustained? Final question.
So, of course, Enugu Air is not about an administration. It's about the people. It's about the region. In fact, it goes beyond Enugu. It's also about the region. It's about the pride of the nation. And we've seen a success story in Ibom Air. They have transitioned from an administration. They've changed a CEO after completing a tenure. They've reported profitability. They've grown fleet. So I think that we can even do better. because we are very business, our region is very business minded. So if IBOM Air could do this, even with the level of resources that that state has, that is even from oil and gas, I believe that any administration in this state will champion that. And to what you mentioned, I didn't address it in terms of the culture and feel of it. It's 042. It's 042. So we're going to make sure that people are enjoying our 042 vibes, whether it's in terms of the greeting, the swag. You know, we have swag and other things. But we might not be serving some local delicacies on the local routes. Maybe when we start going international, right? Because you also want to serve things that are quick, so that immediately the aircraft lands within 20 minutes, just like what you have with Southwest Airlines in US, it has turned over. That's what gives it reliability.
Okay, now very briefly, because we're running out of time now, beyond, you know, we're seeing this being quite successful already because it's happening on Monday, but other airlines that tried to be sustained or tried to make their mark, some of them did not work. We saw what happened to Imo Air, the notorious Nigeria Air. What was the key mistake that you have identified that they made and that you have tried to avert, that this government has tried to avert to ensure that Enugu Air does not go down the same way?
Yes, the first thing is you have to do proper business plan. You have to do your feasibility studies. That's what we did. In fact, we started feasibility study for Enugu Air November 18th, I believe, 2023. Right, so that's when we started the feasibility. It was done, a lot of consultation, selection of listening to professionals. Let's say if most people might say Boeing, right, you have to look at what machine is suitable for this area, right? Can you maintain them, right? What is the route development plan? Instead of going to bring massive jumbo jets that you will not be able to have proper load factor, let's say 75% load factor, then you're burning through a ton of money. And if you don't have a ton of money, right, to sustain it, it will have issues, right? Then even selection of the fleet size for the start, right, so that you don't have a lot of pressure. Then partnering with the right operator that actually have experience and can take that airline to where it needs to be.
You talked about the operator, XE Some people don't know XE. They ask questions like, how can we trust XE? Could you tell us why Enugu State government trusts XE this much? Final question.
So XE is I think they are the largest, I believe, the largest private jet operator in Nigeria. They have about 11 machines in their fleet. They also do commercial. So when you think of where you see that reliability, right, that safety and comfort is in private jets. So if you're able to do that, and I believe they're actually part of people flying the presidency since the aircraft has been in maintenance. Yeah. So when you're able to do that and fly that highest level, that's what we want to bring into regular commercial operations, right? Because it's already what they do. Imagine that's the service people expect. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, Nandi?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think it actually makes sense because the private jets are Embraer Legacies and Gulfstreams, almost the same size as the Enugu Air. It's basically a hollowed out version of the Enugu Air that has been repurposed. So they'll probably be very used to, they'll know the in and outs of those planes.
After this conversation, I just want my own ticket. But thank you, Dr. Bioto, for joining the show today. And we'll continue to watch and see. Afia TV will be there live on Monday, live streaming the entire inaugural operations. We can call it that. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The morning show returns in just moments as we delve into Afia Season 2. Afia is making a big return from the market. We'll find out more about it in just moments. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Afia Morning Show. I'm Natalie, and of course, Oji is still here. Now, proudly sponsored by Qtix, Onyafia returns for its second season, and headlining the show is no other person than Africa enthusiast Odera Collins, the host with the most, and bringing all new flavor to your screens. Of course, she's going to be doing that. Keeping her on her toes is the ever-creative producer, Vera Chidima. Good morning. And welcome to the program.
Good morning, guys.
Onyafia returns.
Yes.
The way I picture it is so dramatic. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
So permit us to start with your producer, because that's the one that has been going back and forth, back end. So Vera, Onyafia, some people watch it, they see the promo, they see it happen, but some people want to really understand what Onyafia signifies. What does it mean? What is this program?
In a nutshell, or in one word, I would say it's a masterclass. It's a business masterclass, because we brought in the best of the best, the captains of industries, the founders, the CEO, the people that have done business over a couple of years. And, amongst our guests, we have someone who have led a business for over 40 years. So these people are coming in to share their experience, how they do business. And if you're interested in that line of business, you can learn from them. Do not make mistakes they've made. And in fact, the sky is a starting point. So Onyafia, in a nutshell, is a masterclass, a business masterclass for anybody looking to start business right here in the East or elsewhere, because their principles are basically universal. And another thing, it's eye-opening, right? Because a lot of people look at Igbo businesses as very crude. They think that, okay, as businesses or as businessmen, we do it with the ancient ways, we are not tech-savvy and all of those things. Those stereotypes were torn down. In fact, they were shredded, they were dispelled, and they brought in real-life examples how we are doing business, how we're excelling, innovative ways we are doing things, and it's just
putting a total end to wagging tongues as a whole.
I mean,
tongues no longer wag about those stereotypes.
Tongues shall no longer wag. No.
Okay, coming back to you, Odera. You are presenting Onyafia. Tell us why you feel that you fit this role, who you really represent, and how this program makes you feel anchoring it.
First of all, I'm very enthusiastic. Like you said, I'm very enthusiastic about indigenous stories. Right. And that is because I grew up, in a family where we upheld our tribe, our tradition. Like, once you're home, you don't communicate in English, you switch to Igbo. And, for me, it's been a strong part of my identity. Becoming who I am today has always been influenced by, when people say, oh, I like how you are, and, what you're doing. I'm like, you don't know the women who raised me. Everything I am today is from the women and the men who raised me. So I think indigenous stories are very important if we're going to preserve culture, and if we're also going to have individuals who can uphold values in society. Now, when we say values, people tend to think you're just talking about a moral compass. No, we're talking about culture, we're talking about identity, we're talking about growth. We're talking about having a generation of people that aren't lost.
So talking about everything that that made you who you are, right? So how did you infuse all that you've learned over the years into this show? Making this show you.
I did not make the show me. I made the show what it needed to be for the stories that needed to be told. But one thing I would say that worked, and why I really, because at first I didn't think that I was going to do Onyafia, and that's because, when people see you as, how do they say it in colloquial, slangs, right?
Yeah.
So people tend to think that I never saw myself, because even my time on radio, I never did, local content. I was always pushed to entertainment, lifestyle, news, English. So I never thought Onyafia would be something I would do. But from the first day, it was just this is very important. So it was something I realized on set. I was enthusiastic about doing it, but then there was a second layer of realization when I came on set. Now, talking about how I brought me into it. How I brought me into it is the cultural orientation I have as an Igbo woman. Right, I think it is very important that we have strong ties to who we are. Our indigenous tribe, be you Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, wherever it is you are from. I think it's very important that you are tied back to where you're from, and that helped me understand connotations, how to talk to the guests, how to handle the guests at different age groups. It was just an all-round interesting experience.
For some reason, you remind me of Chimamanda Adichie. I don't know. And it's not because of the Things Fall Apart Festival. This is genuine. It's not just about the dressing. It's how you speak. It's the finesse. I don't know. You're just Perfect for the role.
I'm so honored.
Let me come back to you now, Vera. Season 1 has happened. You produced it as well. Season 2 is now here. Let me not try to be too large. What is the difference between season 1 and season 2? What were the challenges with season 1 that have now been corrected in season 2? And secondly, why did you pick Odera Collins for this role?
Okay, so I'll start by correcting one misinformation. Season 1, I didn't produce season 1.
Right.
Yeah, but for season 2,
who produced season 1 then?
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah.
Where is Eric? Where is Eric?
Eric is in Lagos right now, giving us different recipes, dishes or whatever on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's in Lagos now, but I was part of season 1 actually as a guest.
Great.
But for season 2, I produced it. And why Odera? The challenge, okay, before I get to why Odera, for the challenges of producing season 2, first of all, I didn't think I was going to produce the show. I mean, ideally, I'm the brand manager for Afia, so I wasn't thinking production, right? So when I got that call, you
had removed your hand from church money.
Yeah, I had exactly. I had removed my hand from church money, and for some reason, the parish priest kept calling, saying you have to dip your hand back in. I said, why? We had a little back and forth as to why you should produce this show, with a little touch of blackmail. I mean, I hope the chief executive producer is seeing this.
Yes, I'm sure.
So
with Ikenga.
With Ikenga, of course. There was a little Ikenga to that. So we got into it, we understood the concept and the importance of the story. But for me, what even spurred me to taking up the role was the ideology, because even before being a brand manager, a business development manager, I've always been interested in grassroots stories, our cultural representation. I've always been interested in making sure that our stories are told in the right way. I wasn't comfortable with people telling our stories, saying, oh, Igbo people are this, and this, So when you talk about the Igbo businessman, I want you to know for real how they run their businesses. I don't want it to be based on what you think or what you feel, or what someone had told you before. So I said, you know what, let me do this. Let's get the businesses, let's get them together to tell the stories. I said, you know what, let's get on to produce the show. And then why Odera? Who else would have done a better job? I mean, look at her.
Can you see her shoulders going up gradually?
Well,
gradually.
Yeah, right? So it was a smooth one because, we got into this relationship of talent-manager relationship. I mean, I call her my talent, and we were able to move through that. And I would applaud her. She carried the show very well because most of our guests at some point, there were a lot, because it felt like they've been looking for an opportunity to talk about the things they spoke about. And it's a 30-minute show. So it just felt like it was not enough for them to spill all of that. But what Odera did, which is brilliant, was to be able to manage time to get the best out of them. But interestingly, there are episodes that spilled over 30 minutes. We had to cut them into 2 parts. So viewers, if you're paying attention, you know that there are episodes that are part 1 and part 2.
Showtimes.
And those were done deliberately to make sure that you get all of the important nuggets you have to get out of these people, because this is a free masterclass.
I agree to that. Now, it's showtime exactly.
Okay, the showtime is 11:30 a.m. every weekday, Mondays to Friday on Afia TV. It's premiering on Monday, July 7th.
At 11:30.
I mean, I'm looking forward to that day. It feels like the day I give birth.
And we not say PM, right? 11:30 a.m.
A.m. every morning.
It's not an alarm we want to sleep.
Yeah. No.
Sleep through.
Sleep very well. 11:30 a.m. on Afia TV. You'll be there. And new episodes premiere every Monday.
Great.
So for each week, we are going to, if you miss today, don't worry. We're going to come back on Tuesday. You watch it, catch everything. If you need to jot down things, if you need to cram, screen, whatever it is you need to do, because I don't want people to miss out on the important lessons and the stories we told with this show. So, yeah.
Okay, let's come to the business part of this, right? Because as a brand and development manager for Afia TV, and also as the CEO, I'll describe this as a strategic alignment with Curtis, right? So, talk to us about the sponsorship and the partnership, by the way, we have with this company, and how more is being opened out for.
Okay, so first of all, a big shout out to Q6 PLC for their support. I mean, according to the CEO, this is like the first of its kind for this brand, and first from an indigenous brand. And it meant a lot to me, because I've written to a couple of people, to come in, put money behind the show and all that. A lot of people are still like, oh, okay. But, they saw it and they saw the vision and they jumped on it. So it wasn't even a lot of hard work from my side to put it. I mean, the only hard work I did was to,
So who
do.
will help you not go stress you?
Of course. Who would help you would not stress you, because the only hard work I'll say I did what my part was, structuring a well-detailed proposal to them. But they saw the vision. I mean, Cuties is a brand that has been in existence for what? Over 40 years. So you would see that they've seen it all. They've done it. They've seen it. They've
What's
tested
Cuties into?
Cuties is into cables.
Okay, so and they're interested in programs like this that talk about business.
They talk about businesses, and they're based in Nnewi, where a lot of people would wonder, why would you place such a multi-million naira business in Nnewi, southeast of Nigeria? Ideally, people would want Cuties to be based elsewhere. So they share similar values with Afia, and then what the show represents. So, Cuties is sponsoring the show for this season, and like we've promised them, it's a great union, and we are looking forward that they get as much value they get from it. So from anybody watching, I'm hoping that, when you see Cuties on your screen, you think cable. When you talk about Cuties, when you talk about anything coming to cable, from home cables to whatever, they do a whole wide of things. So just look at Cuties. But like I said, it's very important that you came on board with this, and it aligns with what they stand for, businesses, empowering the region, and a whole lot of things.
Great.
So I'm not surprised they came on the show.
Okay, we're already out of time, but I have to ask Odera this question. What kind of guests are we expecting to see?
What kind of guests? Textbook version, captains of industry. But in my own words, I would say expect to meet people that you probably did not know existed in this region. And why do I say that? When people approach us, they approach us, in a straitjacket manner, like, oh, it's just rash business people, right? I mean, I was having an argument with someone about how we represent who we are as Ndibo, right? We used to be very diverse, we used to be very educated, you had the cream of the crop, you find it in this region, and we just sort of stopped representing that. And Onyafia is revitalizing that, and that's what you're going to be seeing. So you're going to be seeing experienced people from different walks of life. We cover from events to technology to talent retention in southeastern Nigeria. We talked religion, spirituality. We spoke about a ton of things. So yes, like she said, it's a masterclass, and I can't wait for you to watch it.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. And what shall we say now? The show has come to an end, but we hope that tongues begin to wag about Onyafia. We want to see tongues wagging in Enugu and across the southeast, across Nigeria. Everybody should be talking about Onyafia at this point. 11:30 a.m. on Monday, Onyafia Season 2 premieres. Odera Collins is going to be bringing you all the vibes that you need, and Vera is going to be there, just giving herself that pat on the back. It went very well. It's not easy producing. Trust me.
It's not.
It's not. It's not.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you once again.
You're welcome.
Up next is the Business Morning with Afia TV political economic correspondent Nnamdi Ovaya at 10 a.m.